What's up, folks? It's TD at SIB. Gonna do a little video talking about what happened today in the market. Today's price action for SPY and other big names that were notable to me. Um, so it was just a kind of very weirdly not choppy day, but just really wavy. I mean, we gapped up today. We get a big red candle. We fill the gap. We get big green, and we greened just perfectly up here, up to the supply zone. So I've been talking about that a lot, the supply zone that we have right here in the 402 to 40150 area. And I mean, we wicked up to that just almost perfectly. Like this, I had this box here already. I swear to Jesus. Um, and we just wicked up to that perfectly. I did not see that. I was just like thinking maybe we'd just go straight through that. That did not happen. We get this perfect tweezer top, bounce off that. I know someone shorted that perfectly. It was not me. But then we sell off. We come back down to this huge fib level here at 397.03. We get a big bounce off of that. But from there on out, it was just lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower high, higher high, no, higher low, lower high, lower low. So just clear, pretty clear downtrend, and then with the big old head and shoulders that we had over here. Um, so it's not looking great for SPY. I still do believe though that we are going to get a bounce either today or tomorrow or Friday. Um, I I mean, this has been 4 red days in a row for SPY. I know could be nearing the capitulation point where we get a just pure huge minus 5% day or something on SPY. It could be any day now. But even for this market, it has been rare that we get like 4 big red days in a row without eventually getting a fifth green one. That's not my only conviction. I am holding a call on the NASDAQ overnight. Very high risk. A 305 call for the 6th of September. I just think this sell-off is getting overextended. It's not just going to go straight down from here. We need to have a bounce at some point. There's no way SPY could have ripped up this fast without any semblance of a bounce. I mean, it's just going to happen. It even happened over here in April, back when we sold off from like 460 all the way down to 430. We got our bounces, and this call is very small. I'm not looking for a huge like 5% bounce, just a 1%, little gain. But we have a gap right here on SPY, so that is something very important to look out for. And this is sort of, my conviction on a bounce. So this clean level that we closed below here on 395.75, we closed right below that, and then right below that level, we do have this gap here at 394.02. It just seems way too obvious that we are not going to just go straight through this gap. We are 100% going to get a bounce before we retest this gap. Because if you just look around the market, I mean, this gap is basically on every chart. Like Microsoft has a big gap right here from earnings. Amazon is right at its gap. Like literally it closed in its gap right now. I think these are just super duper obvious bear traps. Not really bear traps, but they're just going to trap shorts in, and then they're going to bounce it, and then make those shorts want to sell, and then take it back down. So that is what I am seeing. Apple, same thing. Apple filled its gap today. So this is basically the same gap that is on the chart for SPY, but Apple is just falling quicker than SPY is right now. So Apple has closed that gap completely. It is now at a bounce level right here. Apple, I mean, is just right above that, just barely above that. It's about 20 cents above that zone. I do not believe it is just going to go straight through that zone without a quick retest of potentially 159.57. But we can see the same thing on the NASDAQ. NASDAQ still closed above its low over here at 299, so it just is barely reclaiming 300 right now after hours. But anyways, yeah, same thing we see what NASDAQ was doing. I mean, NASDAQ had a disgusting head and shoulders over here, but it kind of fell apart, and now it's kind of looking like an inverse head and shoulder, or like a triple bottom, or even quadruple bottom. I mean, we bounced right here, we bounced over here, we bounced over here, bounced right here, or now that we closed right here, that's kind of why I'm seeing a bounce perhaps coming tomorrow. I'm hopeful. But it's very risky. It could be really stupid, but I think it's worth the risk. I closed my Nasdaq put. I just think the sell-off is getting overextended. I do really believe that. And so, anyways, what else happened today? Let's look at the Nasdaq futures. So Nasdaq futures kind of just, I mean, it looks like hot dog doo-doo. But we are right here at this bounce level, or about near that bounce level at 12. Oh my god, I need to look at 12,265, or let's just say 265. So I believe we're going to bounce off this level. We did get a nice little inside bar on that. It's an ugly looking candle, but we're right at that level that we could get a solid bounce. And otherwise, look at that, just the cues. But yeah, we really just, I mean, it was a crazy day. It was just crazy. We gap up, come and close the gap. We bounced, gapped up to this zone up here, and we now have this key level right here that you can see pretty obviously. Whoops. That we just wicked straight up to that level, straight up to the 200 moving average, 200 exponential moving average as well on the 5 minute, and then sold off. We come down, we bounce off of the supply zone over here. Nice little breakout, but couldn't even touch VWAP, and then from there on just sold off, just a lower high with a lower low, lower high, lower low, higher high, higher low. Maybe we're in an uptrend, and nope, it just closed at the bottom. Ugly, ugly sell-off. Amazon was one I was trading today, or trying to anyways, and yeah, it was ugly. I should have had a profitable trade. I fumbled it badly at the end of the day because I just got completely shaken out. Like, this was just from 127 straight up to 128.20. It just had this crazy bounce, but yeah, that was pretty rough. So it closed right in its gap. I'm a little skeptical. I think it's way too obvious. I think the most painful thing that the market makers could do to retail traders right now is make it look like Amazon is on its way straight down. But with that in mind, I think they are going to bounce it first. I really do. It is getting oversold. On the 4 hour, it's almost oversold. So I think they'll bounce it. I think they will bounce it and give it a retest up here of like 129.31. And really that would, I mean, that would be like way, not even that high. I mean, that would be a pretty small bounce if we got something like that. Just a breakout of that and then retest up here before the more selling steps in, and then that finally goes into that gap. Otherwise, other mentionable names, Nvidia, good God. Nvidia just cannot, and I mean cannot, find a bottom. Like, holy smokes, man. This thing is just gone. Like, look at this poor chart. I mean, it just never stood a chance. It's just gone, dude. Like, what happened, Nvidia? I mean, just craziness. It was at $193 a share only 28 days ago, about 4 weeks ago, and now we're down to 150. I mean, it has fallen through the floor. It's crazy. Just monstrous selling. It's getting oversold. It is insane. I'm not buying more. I'm concerned about September. I'm not buying any more stock until the end of this year. I think I should just do that unless we do get a crazy drop-off in Powell pivots. But, I mean, Nvidia was just a clean, like, bear flag. I mean, what else can you say? It dumped through that trend line and hasn't looked back. And I don't know. I was long on it. I saw the setup, and I don't know what's so hard about like just going through with the setup. I always struggle with this because I will always see these kind of setups where it's just like, oh, you could just short when it breaks that, and it would have been so simple. Although that was Friday, and I was on vacation Friday. But anyways, it has broken out of this falling wedge to the upside still. Even though it closed with a disgusting hourly candle, it has been forming a big fat falling wedge, and it finally broke out of that with a pretty nice looking almost triple bottom with 1, 2, 3 bottoms right here with a nice breakout, and we broke above. Even though it rejected it, it's still notable. We broke above 152.20. So I do like NVIDIA to make a little retracement up to the upside. Potentially a retracement of somewhere up here at like 157.97 before we get more downside. But like I just don't even know what to say about NVIDIA. Like it is. So this is what worries me, is that the Nasdaq is still up here at 300. When the Nasdaq was down here at 270, NVIDIA was down here at 140. So you can see what I'm saying here. The NVIDIA is outpacing the Nasdaq to the downside by a shocking amount. So it's like, what if the Nasdaq goes back down to 260? What the hell is NVIDIA going to be at? I mean, I got to zoom out to the 3-year chart. I mean, we could be looking down here at like 116 on NVIDIA. Like, I don't even know what the hell we're going to do on NVIDIA. We're definitely going to head for that weekly 200 moving average at 126. So that's my target, I guess, for the potential drop down. We do have our big old support trend line that we have bounced off of twice now. That would it would kind of meet it. I mean, not really, but I mean, we could just be looking at like 109 or something crazy. It's pretty sad. NVIDIA is just getting absolutely massacred. And the sad part is that it did not make a higher high. It never made the higher high, so it is still in that confirmed trend line. So it's almost certainly going for a lower low below 140. Yeah, it's brutal. Otherwise, there's Apple. Did I already talk about Apple? And I mean, Apple just, yeah, this. It just would have been so easy. I don't know why I always do this. I'm always so worried to do things that are like, but the market looks so green. And I mean, it was just so simple. You short Apple. Look at this. It breaks this trend line. You short sell it at 169. What is that, like a 6% profit? Just so simple. You short it, and your stop loss is just the highs at 176. I mean, that's a $7 risk for all this downside. I mean, I don't know. But otherwise, what I'm looking for tomorrow, let's actually look at SPX. So, this, whoa, what the fuck am I looking at? Stupid trend line off here. Alright, so we've had our head and shoulders play out on SPX. We had this super clear shoulder, head, shoulder. We broke the neckline. It hasn't looked back. Now we are looking to see where could we potentially bounce. I have a bounce right before the gap. I absolutely 100% think it will see a bounce before we enter that gap, like I said. And then above that, I believe we could bounce up to at least 4,000, a retest of 4,000. Then below the gap, I mean, obviously, huge level right here at 39.14. If we go to enter that gap, I don't know if it's going to enter it or if it's going to fill it completely, like right off the bat. I'm a little worried. But then, hey, that's almost a bounce spot right there too. Oh, I need my fibs on this chart. Where the fibs at? So then below that trend line, we have another major key level on this fib level at 38.98. Below that, there is another gap. So that's the really crappy part about this, is that when SPX just has all these gaps, I mean, it just gap fills city. It is like so easy for the bears to yank the market down through into these gaps. We have another gap right here. Like there's 3 gaps that we still have yet to fill. So that's a little worrisome. And yeah, it's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a messy month, but we have our clear resistance up here at this level. it's got a little it's got that red moving average right there, so I like seeing that. But yeah, 4018 is obviously resistance, this zone right here. So I want to see a bounce and a retest of that, and I believe we will get that tomorrow or Friday. So yeah, that's about all I got, folks. Just keep an eye out. See what happens next. I don't know. Do we just keep selling off? Do we get any bounce? This was a weird day. I mean, bulls tried. They tried today. I mean, shit. Nasdaq was green half the day. It went from red to green and green to red like 8 times. So there are bulls out there, but the bears just keep coming in at the end of the day and just smacking them down. So yeah, we'll see what happens next, folks. Catch you later.